everyone. Welcome to another ShareWise webinar. Thank you so much, Lisa Wade from DigitalX, for joining me once again. Hi, Lisa. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Thanks. So let's get straight into it today. So DigitalX recently announced a share purchase plan. Can you tell us more about it and if there was a strategic decision behind the timing of capital raising now?
Yeah, look, I mean, we didn't really want to run into Christmas, but we figured January is actually a good time for people to be around, and we feel that we have a very strong retail shareholder base. So we've kept it open just in case some people are on holidays. And really it was we wanted to bolster our cash reserves and to have growth for 2024, which we think is going to be a huge year, have capital for growth. And also, an element of listening to shareholders and hearing loud and clear that people don't want us to be selling Bitcoin any longer to fund the business. So we thought it was a good way to engage with shareholders. We haven't offered shareholders an opportunity to enter the stock without brokerage for a number of years, and we thought it was a good time to offer shares at a discount.
And I know in the announcement it mentions what the funds will be used for, but could you speak further into how this fund allocation will benefit current and prospective shareholders?
Yeah, great. So, I mean, obviously working capital is a big part of it. And our core strategy for 2024 is the Bitcoin ETF and lodging that application with the ASX, as well as further developing our real world asset tokenization initiatives. And in both of those spheres, Bitcoin ETF, we're one of the first in Australia. We're not a first mover, but we're pretty close to it. And then with the real world asset tokenization, we're actually one of the first movers globally. And the way the momentum is really building in the digital asset space, we really want to be able to move fast and nimbly in 2024 to take advantage of the leads that we have and really develop our business and cement our place in the world of Web3, the world of real world asset tokenization, the world of digital assets, whatever your favorite way of describing it is. We feel that we've got a lead and a competitive advantage, and we really want to make the most of that in 2024.
And before I go on, I forgot to mention, for those that have joined us live, please feel free to pop your questions for Lisa into the Q&A chat box. And so in the past month, we've seen a massive spike in Bitcoin. Can you provide us with the factors which you believe have contributed to this price jump?
Oh, yeah, look, I mean, I think it's pretty amazing, to be honest with you. And there's a real shift in the conversation. We're going to be releasing a paper on what we think the differences are between this rally and previous rallies. And from my point of view, I think the narrative around ETF launches is really powerful. And not just because of the access. As well as I do that if you buy a physical Bitcoin versus an ETF, it's still the same demand. But it is a little bit tricky to have your own digital wallets. And if you really look at the way the financial markets are set up, having and accessing physical Bitcoin ETFs will allow people like self-managed super funds and people who just don't have that sort of capability to enter the market. And you can really see that it is the now product. I think I've said this before, our strategy is now, next and beyond. And yes, in the future, do I believe that every person will have a Web3 wallet and be able to buy a Bitcoin at the click of a finger? Absolutely. Every corporate treasury, every government. But if we work that all the way back to now, the Bitcoin ETF is really the now product. And then you've got the institutions that are getting behind it, which for me is phenomenal. Everyone talks about BlackRock, but you've got Fidelity, you've got Templeton, you've got Van Eck, you've got all of these really large financial players and CEOs almost leapfrogging each other to become experts in Bitcoin now. And for me, that's mind-blowing. And then I think the other part of the institutional wave is governments. So we saw El Salvador issue a bond. Don't underestimate that. If Bitcoin becomes this global reserve, and I'm not talking about the US dollar even becoming less important. I'm talking about countries that have struggled. If they make Bitcoin some kind of federal reserve, like some of the smaller countries are doing, then that literally is mind-blowing as well. And then I think there's also, if you look around, when I talk about financial infrastructure, we've always been driven, I said this before and I'll say it again, back in my stockbroking days, there was always the saying, beware the thundering herd. And literally the thundering herd are the large organizations like, UBS and Goldman's in terms of their trading desks, as well as BlackRock, which is formerly Merrill Lynch. And if you look at the infrastructure that has been set up, you've got Goldman's going from 0 people in digital assets a year and a half ago to 80 people now. UBS is setting up trading desks. All of that financial infrastructure is being built. It's previously been sort of hedge funds playing around the edges, and I really believe that those 3 things together are, creating this institutional swell. So just to recap, ETFs and the quality of names behind them, countries using Bitcoin as reserve currencies, and then just the institutional wave in terms of the financial infrastructure beyond the Bitcoin ETF.
So should we expect this upwards trend to continue over the next few months?
Oh, look, it's anybody who's been trading Bitcoin for a long time hates making comments like that. My original target, as I said in October, was 100,000 US this round of the next big shift upwards, which we're seeing. Things don't go up in a straight line. They never have, they never will, but correct, maybe I'll be wrong on that. I think we'll test the all-time high at some point, and then break through up to 100,000 US in the medium term. And then I'm so superstitious about that call. And what worries me is this, it seems to be almost a given right now that Bitcoin's going to break those levels. And, that's certainly what's keeping me awake at night right now, that, we'll all miss this big run that will, launch an application to the ASX and Bitcoin will be $100,000. So at DigitalX, we're certainly pedaling very hard as though that will happen, with the knowledge and sort of the battle scars, I guess, that anything can happen in crypto. And as a trader for a really long time, I'm 30 years in finance and I started my career trading. It really bothers me when everybody's saying the same thing. But, it does, that's what keeps me awake at night, is this rally happening really quickly and not having DigitalX in the core strategic position of having the application in for the Bitcoin ETF. I want the mums and dads to be able to get access to crypto in a different way as quickly as possible, and that's what we're driving for. We've got the wholesale funds, but there's just this extra part of the market that we can really address, even with our crypto fund. And then also for DigitalX being a little Australian company, I want us to be part of the global conversation, and that 3IQ announcement really is, how do we get our product that we've originated in Australia, that we're leading the world on, the crypto fund, the real world asset tokenization fund, how do we get those out into the world so that the world doesn't pass us by, down here in Australia? Because the big thing with Web3 financial rails is this globalization that's going to be happening. And, I really want Australia and DigitalX to be relevant. That's why I'm on the board of Blockchain Australia. Australia's in danger of being left behind in general. And I'm really passionate about DigitalX having its seat at the table in the world.
And are there any updates with the Bitcoin ETF since the last time we spoke?
Not since we last spoke. I don't really like saying watch this space. That's a bit dangerous, but the team is certainly working very hard. We did announce our intention to lodge with the ASX. As everybody knows, there's a lot of work that goes behind an ETF. We had done a lot of behind the scenes work throughout the last year and a half for that. And all I'll say is the team is working really hard, and we'll certainly be pushing that as quickly as humanly possible with our partners K2 and 3IQ. We have a huge amount of expertise with those resources that we have, both internally at ETF. There's a lot of us in the team that have a ETF background, and then we've got K2 and 3IQ have their global offerings. So we're not short of capability, and we're pedaling as fast as we can.
And we have a question submitted from a viewer. Is there a predictable correlation between the Bitcoin price and DCC share price?
Oh, look, our share price, I would say, other than sort of corporate headwinds, price action over the last few days is correlated to Bitcoin. I would say I haven't actually calculated the correlation number. That would be very interesting. I might go back and have a play around on Bloomberg when we jump off the call. But I would say we're almost 90% correlated to Bitcoin, if not 100% correlated. But we can maybe we should run a little a book and see what the actual number is, but I'll certainly endeavour to find out the exact correlation. Fun fact, I'm a bit of a finance geek, and I ran index arb and program trading at what is now Citigroup back in the day, and I used to calculate correlations before breakfast. So hopefully we'll be able to pick that one up off Bloomberg and get that to you very quickly. And I can't believe I didn't think of that.
I'm looking forward to see that number. And similarly, we have another question here. What is affecting the share price at present? With Bitcoin rising, the share price does not appear to be rising at the same rate. When Bitcoin price was coming down, the share price was higher at the equivalent Bitcoin price.
Yeah, look, I think, we have had a massive rally the last month or two. The percentage returns are phenomenal. I think we're up about 68% from the lows, and obviously Bitcoin's had a phenomenal rally. And then I do think that the announcement on Friday of the SPP has put a little bit of selling pressure on the share price. And I do think that as we equalize over January, and if Bitcoin continues to rally, then we will pick that gap back up. And I'm excited for shareholders to get this opportunity to invest now, because as I said, I do see that 2024 will have a rally in the Bitcoin price, and I do believe our share price will move with that.
And last question from me, speaking of 2024, what is the digital asset outlook, and what else can we expect from DCC?
Oh, look, 2024, we are really focusing on a number of things, and I'm excited about our strategy. So within the Sell My Shares business, we'll also be doing Sell My Shares, Buy My Bitcoin ETF. So really tying those two businesses together. And then in the funds business, a huge focus on the real world asset tokenization product, getting product market fit. We've hired Omar Mohammed from NAB, who's one of my colleagues from National Australia Bank, to really champion that. And he's already proving to be a force of nature in that area. There's a lot of behind the scenes work that no one can see before we get that overnight success there, but he's certainly working very hard, and I'm excited to be working with him again. And then inside of the funds business, we're moving, I think, into this sort of, I don't like using the term bull market in crypto, but what I think is we've been building over the last year and a half during the crash. And one of the things that we built, which is sort of unrecognized, is this universal scoring matrix, which is how we invest in smaller crypto in the fund. At the moment, we're Bitcoin dominant, and as we've sold any on the balance sheet, we've moved into a higher percentage into the funds. And as you know, our balance sheet is a big investor in the funds. And then in 2024, we've got a little catchphrase called alt thematics, really using this universal scoring matrix to select the alts that are going to outperform and start to move into those and really align the stories of, it's not just investing in crypto. We're talking about this infrastructure shift to Web3 financial rails, and our funds business is in the perfect position to make those investments, and with the expertise that we have. And, some of our holdings like Avalanche, I'll give you an example. Avalanche, its true north and its reason for being is the real world asset tokenization. That is the taking of all assets in the world offline onto online. Now we can say Bitcoin's become sometimes in the top 10, gold is number one in terms of, market cap of assets in the world. What happens when all of those assets go offline to online? Investing in that infrastructure is what the crypto fund can do. And that's a big focus for us in 2024, getting that alt thematic story out there. This rally is not just going to be Bitcoin, right? The alts will catch up, and these stories and these really great infrastructure players in the sector will start to shine through, and we'll be hearing more and more about them in the year. And that's where our crypto fund really comes into its own. And then, of course, I think everybody's pet project is going to be, getting a Bitcoin ETF up in Australia, and really focusing on lodging that application, which we've said we're going to do. So, that's a really exciting strategy as far as I'm concerned. And I think, broadly we'll have a tailwind, which we've had a headwind since I started. So, and nobody's going to be putting their feet up and, we're going to be taking advantage of the tailwind, but we certainly won't be resting on our laurels. We'll be, building a great company, and I'm excited about doing that with a tailwind, and seeing what happens this time next year.
Well, it's all very exciting. I know you said you don't like the phrase, but watch this space, everyone. Thank you so much, Lisa, for joining me. I look forward to speaking again soon. And thank you so much, everyone, for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. Merry Christmas, everybody, if I don't talk to you beforehand. And thanks for all the support.
Thank you.